Gulfstream G700, the quiet giant of private flight. Teaser. Before we even step on board, here's a clue to watch for. This jet cruises comfortably at Mach 0.90 and still keeps a cabin altitude of roughly a small hillside town. By the end, I'll reveal exactly how Gulfstream pulled off that trick, and what it means for how your brain and body feel after a 14-hour flight. Cold open. Welcome to Luxury Living Detective, where we decode the rare air of ultra-long-range private aviation. Today we're going inside the Gulfstream G700, the quiet giant designed to cross oceans at high speed while treating sleep like a first-class science. If you're curious why so many ultra-high-net-worth flyers benchmark their entire lifestyle around what this jet can do, settle in, because the G700 is built to dominate three things at once: speed, space, and serenity. Big picture, why G700 matters. Ultra-long-range competitors promise range. The G700 stacks range with time. It holds a maximum operating Mach of 0.935. Beyond the quick headline, that means fewer hours burned on your logbook, fewer maintenance cycles, fresher crews, and, crucially, you landing at breakfast instead of brunch. Yet the real story is the cabin, Gulfstream's largest ever, engineered to be bright, quiet, and physiologically gentle, so you arrive ready to make decisions that justify the flight in the first place. Design DNA you can feel. The G700's silhouette signals intent: long, purposeful fuselage, clean wing with canted winglets, and those unmistakable oval windows, 20 in total, spaced to wash the cabin in daylight. Step through the air stair, and you meet an interior that can be tailored into as many as 5 distinct living areas. Think of it as a townhouse in the sky, a forward lounge for takeoff chats, a 6-place dining and conference area that flips into a boardroom, a media or theater zone with true audiophile silence, and a grand suite in the back with a proper shower. The message is simple: do the day, then reset before you land. The speed-space paradox. Solved. Long cabins often feel like corridors. Not here. The finished width stretches about 8 feet, and the height clears 6'3", which means most adults stand naturally and move without shoulder shrugging. The overall interior length passes 63 feet, making it easy to separate work, dining, and sleep into zones that feel intentional. No awkward compromises. Add in 2,600-plus cubic feet of volume and a 195 cubic foot baggage area, and you're not negotiating between wardrobe, golf bags, and media kit. You're simply bringing life with you. The quiet science, cabin atmosphere. Let's talk wellness technology that actually matters at FL410 and above. The G700 maintains an exceptionally low cabin altitude at typical high cruise levels and pushes 100% fresh, plasma-ionized air through the cabin every few minutes. Translation: higher partial pressure of oxygen than you'd get on an airliner, less dehydration, and fewer headache-inducing pressure swings. Pair that with Gulfstream's ultra-quiet sound treatment and circadian lighting tuned to nudge your body clock, and you start to understand why owners describe arriving more like they woke up at a favorite hotel rather than crawled off a red-eye. Flight deck, calm power. Up front, Gulfstream's symmetry. Flight deck is a masterclass in minimalist power. Active control side sticks give pilots tactile awareness of each other's inputs, cutting ambiguity in high workload phases. The touchscreen avionics reduce head-down time, while the combined vision system overlays real-world infrared imagery with synthetic terrain cues on dual head-up displays. That means better situational awareness at night and in marginal weather. better stability on short final, and more access to airports where lesser systems would turn back. Engines that think in quiet. Rolls-Royce Pearl 700s provide over 18,000 pounds of thrust each, tuned not just for brute force, but for smooth, fuel-efficient high-Mach cruise. The aerodynamic cleanup around the inlets and wingtip devices reduces drag at speed, the sweet spot of this airplane's mission. The result is a genuine high-speed cruise at Mach 0.90 with intercontinental legs that still respect NBAA reserves. So the airplane's fast isn't only a marketing word, it's baked into the mission math. Mission math, not hype. At long-range cruise, the G700 reaches about 7,750 nautical miles with a typical executive complement. Need it faster? Hold Mach 0.90 and you still clear 6,650 nautical miles, which links city pairs like New York-Hong Kong or Los Angeles-Sydney with time to spare. Practical takeoff performance matters for real-world ops. Balanced field length sits right around 6,000 feet at maximum weight under standard conditions. And the landing numbers give crews honest margins at business aviation-friendly fields. Cabin experience. The 5-room idea. What makes the G700 addictive isn't only the square footage, it's how those feet are used. The Ultra Galley up front is more than a kitchen. It's a true hospitality workspace with serious counterlength. Think plated service rather than reheated boxes. The 6-place conference layout transforms quickly into a dining salon. The media zone sits at a sweet acoustic node, so dialogue tracks sound natural, not tinny. And when you slide the pocket door into the grand suite, the cabin drops into library quiet. Lie flat, proper bedding, lighting down to a whisper glow. This is where a 14-hour sector stops being an ordeal and starts being a choice. Connectivity that doesn't apologize. Ka-band connectivity is the default expectation at this level, but the G700 treats it as part of the design, not an afterthought. Routing, antenna placement, and cabin management knit together so you can switch from a 4K screening to a high-bandwidth video call without tearing the Wi-Fi apart. For founders, funds, and family offices, that's not a convenience. That's continuity of operations at 45,000 feet. Key specifications, explained like an owner. Numbers only matter if they change outcomes, so here's what they mean on your calendar. The top Mach number of 0.935 gives dispatchers a real lever when beating curfew or slot times. The initial cruise altitude at 41,000 feet gets you above most weather and airline traffic quickly, preserving ride quality and speed. A service ceiling at 51,000 feet gives you clear, cold air when needed. With 20 windows, bright work zones reduce screen strain during long spreadsheets or deck reviews. And cabin altitude in the 2,000 to 3,000 foot neighborhood at normal high cruise means you can hold a thoughtful meeting after 8 hours aloft. And remember it. Cost reality check for the ultra-long-range class. Let's be candid. Acquisition for a new, well-specified G700 typically sits in the high 70s to mid-90s million-dollar range, depending on options and interior ambitions. Hourly direct operating costs live in that upper thousands bracket, with total ownership stacking fixed expenses like crew, training, insurance, and hangar on top. Charter rates, where available, often print in the mid-teens to high teens per flight hour in the U.S., reflecting both capability and scarcity. None of that is casual money. But then again, this aircraft returns time, control, and cognitive clarity, which are the actual currencies of people who need one. Rival watch. How it plays in the league. Put the G700 against other flagships. And the comparison gets interesting. Bombardier's Global 7500 has tremendous range and a fabulous four-zone cabin. The Falcon 10X promises a massive cross-section and cutting-edge systems when it enters service. The G700 counters with a proven high Mach routine, a cabin that feels as if it were drawn by a hospitality designer instead of an engineer, and a flight deck that blends human factors elegance with serious tech. If you care about sprinting at Mach 0.90 as a daily habit without punishing the people on board, the G700's balance is hard to beat. A day in the life, G700 style. Picture wheels up at night from Teterboro. You clear weather quickly, level at 41, and the cabin drops into that private hush. Dinner at a proper table, slideshow on the big monitor, a round of notes on a term sheet. Lights warm to evening tones. In the suite, shades down, pressure low, heart rate calm. You actually sleep. Hours later, breakfast in Asia feels like breakfast at home. Your team walks off the air stair clear-headed, no 3 a.m. brain fog, no scratchy eyes, and goes straight to the meeting rooms that justify having a jet like this. The pilot's secret advantage. Ask a pro, and you'll hear about tools you never see. Predictive landing performance that calls out runway margins before they tighten. Combined vision that layers infrared and synthetic reality when the weather plays games, and active side sticks that whisper what the other pilot intends. Quiet safety is luxury too. It's not flashy, but it's the reason these airplanes get into and out of more places, more of the time. Sustainability with grown-up honesty. No, a long-range business jet won't pretend to be a bicycle. But a clean-sheet aerodynamic design, modern engine core, and access to sustainable aviation fuel give you levers that weren't on the table a decade ago. When your calendar demands the jet, the G700 makes a meaningful difference in how efficiently those miles are flown. My take. A lot of jets are impressive. Very few are persuasive. The G700 persuades because it takes the friction out of every hour you spend with it. The flight deck calms the crew. The cabin refreshes the passengers. The performance compresses time zones into something survivable. That's why owners talk about it as a life amplifier, not just a vehicle. The reveal you were waiting for. At cruise, the G700's cabin altitude can sit around the mid-2,000-foot mark, even while you're high and fast. That's why you don't step off feeling like your head's been in a vice. Combine that with meticulous acoustic tuning and natural light from those 20 panoramic windows, and you get the quiet giant's signature move. You land ready to use the day you just stole back. If you appreciate deep dives into the world's most advanced yachts, jets, estates, and technology, this is your channel. Drop a like to tell the algorithm you want more. Comment with your dream G700 cabin layout, and subscribe so these investigations land in your feed first. If you want to go further with us, tap Join to become a channel member. Your perks unlock extra breakdowns and behind-the-scenes tours. Super thanks keeps the research rolling at the highest level. And if you're all about positive momentum, hit that free hype rating to boost this video across the platform. Every gesture helps us keep bringing you the world of ultra-luxury with forensic detail.